It's a beautiful day. Rooster. Glassards. Hi everyone. Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. And it's time for an album review. Rustie, Glass Swords. Rustie is a Glasgow electronic music producer. This is his full-length debut, which I'm sure Cal Chuchesta has an opinion on. Maybe they shouldn't left it out in the rain. It's Rustie.
I hate Cal Chuchesta.
Alright, so Rustie's Glass Swords. This album is basically like dying and then going to video game heaven. The album starts off with these glistening ethereal synthesizers and this really anthemic guitar solo, and everything's atmospheric and everything is reverbed and just huge and arena sized, and it just kind of feels like the start screen to a Super Nintendo game, and it really sets the mood. On the second track, it goes full throttle into a series of songs that just remind me of playing Capcom games on NES and Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis when I was a kid. Or maybe even doing something like playing Street Fighter II Turbo on an arcade cab at the local arcade and kicking everyone's butt and getting the high score. I ain't even using any quarters. And I'm actually getting Zangief to do a pile driver. Crazy. I mean, Rustie goes even further to make the link between his music and video games really apparent by even sampling Navi from Zelda's Ocarina of Time on the fourth track, where I'm always hearing, "Hey, look, listen, watch out!" There is a really huge video game theme on this album, but you will catch a couple more flavors among these tracks. There are spots here where I'm hearing juke and dubstep and synth funk. It kind of sounds like what might happen if Burial and Machine Drum collaborated with Chromeo. Take the songs SURPH and Afterlight, where you've got all these really jukey, repetitive, chopped and looped vocal samples, these G-funk vocoder vocals, and these really kind of scattered beats twittering away in the background. And a lot of these tracks have these really quick, fast, high energy, loud build-ups before they drop into a heavy beat like wee. And then this drop comes in, kind of like a dubstep tune, but the wobbling bass isn't there. A funk beat or a two-step beat is there instead. And there are also moments on here where I'm catching a really strong hip-hop flavor, like the song City Star, where, man, just the drum programming really reminds me of something Lex Luger would do. Maybe I could see somebody like Rick Ross or even Waka Flocka Flame rapping over it. Maybe. What kind of keeps that from happening in my head is that the synthesizers are just way too bright and neon colored and sugary, kind of bombastic, and I would sum this album up in that word a little bit. No matter what kind of style or idea a song on this album is chasing, it's always kind of coming out loud and flashy. It's like sonic hedonism. But that kind of has a negative side to it for me because it makes this album a little one-dimensional, I think. You've got all these tracks trying to be as pleasurable as they can, as fast as they can, and as a result, a lot of them use the same exact tricks to go about creating that atmosphere. Really similar beats, really similar layering, really similar build-ups. Like the beat-em-up games, like Final Fight, that stuff like this used to soundtrack, there's not much of a strategy here. These 13 tracks, without much variation, really all attack from the same angle. I think what you get out of this LP has a lot to do with what you go into it looking for. This is not your chin-scratching electronica album that's really soft and subtle. This is louder and brighter, but definitely not as trashy or as dumbed down as something you would stereotype to be played at a rave or something like that. This is something loud, fun, and instantaneous for fans of Hudson Mohawk, Subtract, Flying Lotus, and the Brain Feeder crew, but feeling a decent to strong 7 on this. Definitely some highlights off of this thing, and Rustie undeniably has a nice style going for him. What do you think of this? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Why? And what do you think I should review next? Anthony Fantano, Rustie forever.